Alright. Glasses are all steamed up. Right, sorry, I'm all out of breath because I just got in from the outside world. It's horrible out there. There's grass and all sorts. Okay. Okay, if I put this into a macro and then I squash down the macro, then there's a problem with the waveform rendering, and I know exactly what that is. My glasses are steamed up again. It must be, I guess it's the moisture from my forehead just transferring onto my glasses. 1 second. Yeah, going out to the shop is a big deal for me because I live on the 4th floor. So I do a lot of going down and back upstairs. So when I get in, I'm always... Okay, anyway, this is irrelevant. Right, I've already gone to the right place. It's here. I shouldn't be applying the scaling anymore because I changed this function to apply the scaling internally. If it's past a workspace that has a workspace that exists in a macro context. Anyway, so I just delete this and I delete this and I go here and delete this. And that should be good, I think. Oh. I do need that variable actually. Hold on. Okay. So now this should be okay, hopefully. If we go like this, that's correct. And if I squash this down also, put it into another macro, stretch it out. And it sounds the same, okay. Right, that's that. This one. All right. So the squashing thing turned into one of those blockhead features that just has caused me a lot of stress because it turned out to be way more complex than than I thought it was. But I'll show you what I've done. So baking is turned off. So when I implement a new blockhead feature, usually what happens is I implement it and it works fine. And then I realize it doesn't work with macros, and then I get it working with macros. And then I realize that it also doesn't work with the baking system. And then often in the process of trying to fix the baking system interactions, I then break the macro system. And then I go back and forth for a while, and eventually I get there. So here we go. This is this in a macro. And with baking turned off, and I can squash the macro down to like half the size. And it's kind of like treating it like a sample in that it's going to traverse the macro faster. And the effect of traversing the macros faster with these classic sampler blocks is that it sounds pitched up. And then I could put that in a sub macro, for example, stretch that out maybe. Then so it's all working as you would expect. And then this macro here is this one here. So I can create another instance of that macro in a different context. So this is like a non-squashed context. So this is what the macro sounds like by default because I stretched it out. But in this context, because the containing macro has been squashed down, it sounds different even though it's the same macro. Like if I squash this one again, see it's the same macro. If I make an edit here, it's reflected here. Okay. Now, if you have something like, I don't know, let's say you have some kind of drum beat or something. Maybe it's something like this. That's not a drum beat, but you know, you get the idea. Probably if you squash a macro down, if you have some kind of drum beat, you don't really want it to pitch up. So instead you can right click on the button for toggling squashing on and off, and you can say truncate internal blocks instead of squashing. Which does what you would want. And this isn't like a global setting or anything. You can turn it on and off, and I can turn this squash mode back on and then turn it back off. And okay, so that's all working. So then I got to the point of turning the baking system back on and finding that everything's broken. So let's see what the problems are at this point, because I'm not actually sure. So everything's baking. Just delete this stuff and just concentrate on this one. So it's playing back the baked sample faster than it should, it seems like. So that's how it sounds supposed to sound like when it's baked. You see that the baked waveform looks like it is representing what it's supposed to sound like. Is that what it's supposed to sound like? So this is all correct. It's just it seems like it's just the baked macro playback that is wrong. Possibly, I think the actual baked sample is, I think, correct. The waveform display is not necessarily a good indication that it is correct, because it might just be being stretched. I'm not sure, because that's beyond my comprehension, as a lot of stuff in Blockhead is. I can only keep a certain amount of stuff in my head at once. But you can see if I play the end of the block here, you don't hear anything because it's that final hit is about there. Okay, so let me just have a look at the render and see if I see anything really obviously wrong. I think this is the last thing I have to do, and then squashing is done. Just fix this problem of the baked waveform being wrong in the playback. I don't know if it's either wrong when it plays back or it's wrong during the actual baking operation. Again, the waveform display seems to indicate that just the playback that's wrong. So let's see. Okay, let's create a simpler example. So I have this. Oh. Okay. I've found a completely different problem. What's going on here? Rebake? Is it to do with the location? That's interesting. Okay, so it's clearly not just one issue remaining. Right, that's buggered. If I rebake, then it fixes itself. Interesting. If I do it too quickly, then it happens. If I just quickly place. That's interesting, isn't it? But not if it's just one. If I do two, and then hover over the lane for a second, and then click, then it's fine. If I hover over the lane and then click really quickly. Hold on. Look at that, I'm triggering a rebake of the one on the left by doing this, but it's still not. Oh, interesting. So resizing it triggers a rebake. But clearly, but doing this also triggers a rebake, which actually fixes it. Okay, so that's good. Right. Let's see. I mean, it's good in that I can debug it, hopefully. Turn squashing off. Interesting. It's really interesting. Oh. Oh, right. The Okay, resizing this macro is not triggering a rebake of this. Which is fair enough, because why would it? It's not triggering a rebake of this. Okay. What is the issue? This is a hit. This seems like a hairy one. This seems scary. I don't understand. The first one gets fucked up. But the subsequent ones don't. Oh. Oh no. No, I'm wrong about that. And now I'm getting... Oh no. What is this? Okay, everything's broken. How could this happen? How could this happen? Wait, 17. What happened? I don't know what happened. Okay, cool ID. Make a cool ID. I don't know. I need to try and reproduce that somehow. don't know how I managed to do that. Aha. Okay, I need the minimum possible reproduction case. Is it like this? No. What? Start again. That can't be the minimum. I have to create a macro that has 2 lanes in it. And then create at least 3 clones, I think. Seems inconsistent. 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems consistent. But it's such a lot of setup. Let me check one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It seems consistent enough. 1, 2, 3. Oops, that's wrong. 1. Start again. Because I want the IDs to line up. One, 2, 3, 4. Select them all. Delete. So we're erasing 155. Which succeeds. Then we erase 163, which fails. Okay. So 163 is this one. Let's see if that's consistent as well. So, 147. We're deleting them in a different order now. And 63 failed again. Let's do it one more time and see if that's consistent. 155, 163. 163 always fails. Okay. I think I'm convinced that 163 always fails. So that's as minimum as I can manage of a reproduction case. Okay, 155, 163. This one fails. So this is going to first of all, there's no micro cores. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Okay, so now we destroy the workspace inside the macro. We should have one track, and the track has 2 lanes. So we destroy the first lane. Which is 167. Well, I already see the problem. You can't do that, you fucking dickhead. Right. This is completely broken. I think I actually changed this recently. By recently I mean like 3 weeks ago. So I think this is something I introduced here. So it's a classic C++ thing of I'm iterating through a container which is being modified within the iteration loop, within the loop. That's what's happening. Things are being erased from these containers while I'm iterating through them. Yeah. So they should fix that. Okay. It should only be these 3 for loops. I'm pretty sure I remember changing these. So that's why I didn't see this problem before. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, delete. Okay. Alright, go back to my... That fixed the baking issue! There's no way. I'm trying to understand how one has anything to do with the other. I thought that I was working on that baking issue, obviously, and then I found the macro deletion bug, and I thought that was just one of those situations where you find a completely unrelated bug while you're working on a bug, but it seems like it's actually related. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's still happening. Okay, that's good for my sanity. Right. I don't know how to consistently reproduce this. Seems like it only happens with hat 02, which doesn't make sense. This is a much longer sample. Oh no, there we go. Happened here as well. I think. No, it just took longer to bake. Right. I don't know what the problem could be here. It's annoying that it doesn't always happen. Extremely annoying. What am I supposed to do if it doesn't always happen? I don't know how I can debug it. I can't imagine, just by thinking about it, what the problem could be. It's not happening anymore. Oh, it happened there. Why does it do that? That's really weird. Let's try to do it again. Did it? It's something to do with the size of the macros. When you're placing a macro, you click to place it, and then the next macro that you're placing, it's like cutting the first one off. And it seems like Blockhead is saying, okay, that's, for a moment, that's what the size of the block was. So I'm only going to bake up to that point. Which is fine, but then as soon as the second macro moves away, it should trigger a rebake anyway. Happened here. It's just random whether it happens or not. It seems to maybe only happen if you click very quickly after hovering over the lane. No, it doesn't seem to be the case. Ah, if you move very quickly after clicking. Is that what it is? No, it's not that either. Does seem to be. It's something like that. If you something weird is going on. Let's just stare at this and see if I right, I need to print some stuff. I can do it here. Let's actually put this if it succeeds. What is this telling me? Oh, look at this, frame count 0. That should never happen. Okay. Okay, that's... I don't know why that wasn't an assertion failure much sooner, like before it even gets to this point. I thought I had an assertion in here. So I guess I'm going to hit this assertion now. And I can see why, what's happening. There we go. 165813, 165813, okay. Right. I wonder... Is it something to do with this? If I just get rid of this... Okay, now it's not happening. Right. So what this code is doing is when the end of a block inside a macro overlaps the right-hand edge, I automatically truncate it so that it's as if the block is like this, like flush with the edge. And the reason I do that is because it's because of the way the audio callback works, where it will how do I explain this? It will split the timeline up into like chunks to render a bit at a time, and if it just keeps on rendering, I don't think it's necessary anymore. So that sounds fine, doesn't it? Or is it just because it's baked? I actually don't think it's... I think because of the changes I've made to the audio rendering, it's not needed anymore anyway. But this sounds... If there was a problem related to the macros being at the edge, then I would be able to hear it when I move the position of the macro, because it's moving it out of line with these chunks that I split the timeline into when I'm I don't think I even use chunk. I don't use those chunks anymore. I've completely eliminated that system, I think. I think that's... Right, I don't... Okay, I don't need to do the truncating. I can just get rid of this. That's... I used to have to do that, but I don't have to anymore. I think I'm right about that. Hopefully I'm right. So there's another fix me in here. I don't have to regenerate edges anymore, right? Just because the scale changes? No. So that's good. Right, this is nice. Okay, what is the current status of squashing? Hey, it finally happened. Someone reported this, and I've never seen it happen. Interesting. I'll have a look at that at some point. I already have a note on that, I think. Okay. So, convert that to a macro. Turn baking on, first of all. And do this. Oh, squashing is turned off. Okay, undo. Turn squashing on. Truncate mode is currently on. Okay, that's wrong. That is wrong. Okay, yeah, because I need to take into account the content scale, and I'm not doing. Okay, this makes sense that it's wrong, but so if I turn baking off, everything's fine still, I think. I'm not going to look at nested macros right now. I'm going to assume everything's working fine. Do this mode instead. Then do this mode. So that's all working. The only thing that isn't working is the baking. Well, the baking's working now, I think. But the content scaling is not being applied to the baked waveform on playback. I think that's the only issue. The only issue right now. Let's just turn off all of this printing. Right, let's have a look. I don't think it's just the content. Actually, let me just check something. What I just want to check is if I only squash the macro in this mode and never in this mode. So turn this on and just squash it like this. Does this sound okay? No, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm wrong about what the issue is. I think the baked waveform is okay. I mean the baked sample, but it's playing it back wrong. So see what's going on if I play back the right hand side of the sample, which is the right hand side of the block, which is silent, it seems. I have to put some more clothes on, I'm getting chilly on sec. Right. So we're playing back the right hand side of the macro block, which is silent for some reason. Let's have a look. And all it should be doing is playing back the baked sample. I've already figured it out. Okay. Yeah, I've figured it out already. Yes. Okay. I actually want to create a function for this because I do this in multiple places now. Frame position vector, okay. What do I call it? I call it apply path scaling. Transport. Huh? What is it? Frame position DSP vector. Okay. Scale and also offset. Huh? Oh. Okay. This one is different. Okay, so render path position equals q. This is wrong. Let's do it like that. path scale equals this thing. Path offset is this. Oh, the content scale. No, that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Okay. I think this is it. Let's apply this. Oh no, that didn't work. If I turn baking off, is it going to sound right? Yeah, that's what it's supposed to sound like. Okay, so I do need to take into account the content scaling also, which makes sense. Right, okay. This is the last little bit now. We're almost there. Yes. It'll be in here. Render possibly baked block. Content scale 0.81, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Render baked. What the fuck is this doing? It's doing render baked and now it's doing render baked again. Whoa, what's going on here? This code's buggy. What's going on? Output. Oh. I'm passing this in. What is that? Oh, what am I doing? What's this for? Render baked. I don't remember how this works. This seems weird. Render possibly baked block. Render identity. What else do I pass in there? Render identity. There must be a reason why I'm passing in this last argument here. It looks like there's no reason. There must have been a reason at some point. But not anymore. Okay. Let's get rid of that so that my future self is not as confused as my as I just was then. It seems like this is not needed, this parameter. So I'm meant to just return like that. And this isn't needed either. Must have been needed at some point, but not anymore. Okay. Right. What I was doing is looking at render baked. Render baked output render. I need to pass the content scale into here, or just apply it beforehand. Range big. I could just apply it in here. Song pause minus equals range big content scale I have another one here. Song pause. It's either multiply by or divide by. Copilot seems to think it's multiply by, so let's do that. Okay. So render baked. Render content scale. This is exciting. So close. Then I have a bunch of other stuff. To investigate. It's divide. It must be divide. I hope this is right. Fuck, it's not right. It's not right. Interesting. So it is meant to be multiply. Ah, there's an issue here. Right. I'm only supposed to apply the content scale to a baked macro. If I comment this out, oh wait, stop. So this is broken, right? If I do this. What? Ah, it's not the macro. That's the problem. Wait, what? If I rebake it, fixes it. Oh. Oh, right, yeah. Okay, I understand. When the content scaling changes for a macro, I need to re-trigger baking for the internal blocks. That makes sense. Otherwise they're not rebaked. What is going on with the waveforms? I don't know. That's weird. Oh, I didn't think about that. I need to account for the scaling when it comes to the waveform LODs. I think that's what's going on here. So these are not being rebates, but they should be. There we go. Okay. So I don't need to do this. Put this back to how it was. What do I have to do then? If I change the content scaling for a macro, I need to do the same. I need to trigger baking for dependencies. I don't have a way to do that right now. I have a way to trigger the dependence, but not the dependencies. In fact, that's not what I want to do. I want to re-trigger baking for everything inside the macro. That's basically what I want to do. Yeah, this is a problem with the way I've done things here. I should just be passing in the... Okay, this is fine. Actually, what does update scaling do? Update workspace scaling. I could sort it out there, but I don't care. Wait, update scaling, where else do I do this? Here. Add workspace. Yeah, so it's only when the content scaling changes that I care about this, right? Is that true? Isn't there... Wait, isn't there also an issue? Let me just check something. I have a feeling that if I do this, so it sounds like this, then put this mode on, squash it down. I reckon that's going to sound different. Nope, sounds exactly the same. Okay, fine. Okay, phase deep, workspace cores deep. Guess I can just do this and it'll get filtered out. Alright, I think that's right. Maybe. Oh, this is doing redundant work. Yes. Yes, man. It works. Okay. Good. Oh, it's been such a stressful week. You know, I'm gonna merge this into main now. As soon as you do this, just a bunch of stuff. This is fixed. Oh yeah, this I need to sort out. That is not necessary anymore. Okay, just a few things to do. I don't know if this is still happening. I'll test that. Cool. What's this? Oh yeah, I fixed that. This is this, yeah. So I'm going to bring this in here and bring this into here and then do this. You're going to complain, yeah. And then rebuild and then stop the video. Goodbye.